apologize, keep you waiting. Go ahead.
Bob, since you've been here in Pittsburgh, obviously you had the guys out on the field pretty long. Is this one of the more frustrating moments tonight, not coming up with a goal for a second consecutive game?
Yeah, I think there has to be more urgency to, it's not good to give up a goal 3 minutes in, but you have 42 minutes to have a response before halftime. And I don't think there was any fight back at that moment. So at halftime, we talked about pressing the issue and getting in behind and getting service, and we did better in the second half, but only marginally. We had a good start to the second half, and there's so many numbers back there. You're not going to get clear, wide open chances in the box. You have to win second balls, and we feels like we're having to coax guys to go forward. You're losing 1-0. They're only leaving one guy high. We need to create an advantage and drive and get the ball in behind, serve it, and close the field up for loose balls. A lot of times we serve the ball and they clear it and they pick up the loose ball because we got 4 or 5 guys deep against one. And yeah, we need an extra man there. They're athletic. The goalie can hold on to the ball. And I think there was a lot of balls in front of the defense, and it's hard. When teams drop deep, that's a challenge for all teams. We're not the first team that has struggled with breaking down a deep defense. And, they got the goal, and they chose to do that. They played Thursday night, had to fly, and, when they got the goal, they elected to just sit in and then try to maybe get a second goal on the counter. I think they defended well, but I don't think our movement's good enough, and it's gotten better, but we've got to be able to, in a crowded box, pick up second balls and make something, make the game more of a scramble for them. And, I think it's pretty clear watching. I would have liked to have seen more urgency from us and fight from us. Because I think that's required to win games sometimes. And that is something we've been trying to do a better job with. Tonight, whether it was the heat in the first half, we started at a slow tempo. We talked, I think they were prepared to play a slow tempo. We had talked that, look, we're not going to be able to go guns blazing the whole game, but we need to take the initiative. We're at home. We need to go and create chances to win the game. So we have to be prepared to do that. And I don't think we were prepared to do it, even when we were trailing. Like, it's one thing it's 0-0, well, it'll come, but we're trailing. To me, when you're trailing, you don't wait till the second half to try to get the goal back. I don't think you have to go crazy, but I think we had a lot of time in the first half to establish some things and gain momentum to help, if we don't get the goal, to at least gain momentum for the second half. We allowed them to get to half pretty comfortably, and at that point they're just looking if we can play one good half, we can get out of here with all 3 points. And I would have liked to have seen a response from our group and more urgency from our group. And we'll have to look as a staff, like, listen, when the team's that, that poor, okay, maybe there's some heat. Maybe we, trained them too much from after Loudon. Obviously, you played those games. We tried to introduce some different players in and freshen up the lineup a little bit. We know we have 3 and 7 next week, so we knew it was important to rotate some guys in, which we did in Loudon and we did tonight. So, we have to look at all those things. And when the players are flat, what part did we play in it as a staff as well? But I don't think there was enough bite in our game, urgency in our game. And, you're not going to win many games if you're not winning loose balls and closing spaces down collectively. We just have to be a lot more tenacious as a group. That's what I'll be trying to figure out, or we'll be trying to figure out as a staff is, why were we extra cautious, in the first half, and even in the second half. I think we could have been more aggressive and taken more initiative. And until that changes, it'll be difficult to get results against teams in this league. And it feels like, we didn't have a great game against Loudon, and we always talk about don't lose 2 in a row. And although we didn't lose against Loudon, we were poor for much of that game, and now, we put out another poor performance. So, we have a lot to do. Glad we've got a couple wins under our belt, but, we obviously are desperate to get a home win after dropping 2 games. And we have a lot of work to do before next week when we have Miami, Indy midweek, and then travel to Indy and then travel to Tampa. So we'll try to have a productive week in training and fix some of these things and get a focus on where we've got to go next. I was asked the other night about, you got 2 wins in a row. I said, yeah, it's good, but we got a lot of work to do. Especially after the other night. I felt like we trained pretty well coming back from Loudon, and really expected us to be better tonight. Doesn't help giving up the early goal, but to me it was so early in the game. Hey, we can get a goal and get back on level terms and then find our way to win it. And we didn't even get ourselves back on level terms.
Aiden John with the Post is that those last couple opportunities you had in the last 10, 15 minutes or so of the game, was that just more
crowded box? They weren't, clear cut. Obviously guys were trying. It's not like there weren't any runs. We almost got on the end of it, but there's very little space. The ball has to be perfect. The finish has to be perfect. They're not going to concede a wide open. I think the trick in those moments is if you're hoping to live off of 3-4 chances in a half, you're not doing enough. And their keeper didn't have to make any saves. Maybe he had 1 or 2 for the night. Right. So I told the team, when you're playing well, you're forcing more saves, more danger, putting more balls in the box, winning more second balls. If you're okay, we had 3 or 4 moments in the second half where it looked like we may get the tying goal. Well, they had 3, 4, 5 moments where they could have gone up 2-0. And obviously we're pushing and we're open for a counterattack, but the urgency to create more chances, the urgency to win loose balls, play in their half, and more importantly, play in their final third. By the end of that game, I didn't want to see the ball anywhere but inside their box with our guys flying around trying everything they could. And I just don't think we have that level of commitment on the night, how we started, but also in the second half. I think, we certainly would want to do more playing at home and in front of our fans, but I think in any game we would want to have more urgency to find quality chances where the opportunity to tie the game or go on and win the game would be much better. And at the end of the day, we just didn't do enough. We didn't do enough to deserve anything out of the game tonight, and I think that's got to change. You're not going to be given 3 points, and teams aren't going to hand you many results. So you've got to be ready to fight. Some nights they may come a little easier, but I don't think anything is for free, and you got to put the work in. You got to have an intensity. And tonight we lacked, in my opinion, the appropriate intensity for any game, but especially at home after losing our first home game. The response today, I think we all would have hoped would have been better, and it just wasn't there. I'll reiterate that. Look, we need to obviously look at it. We have players coming in tomorrow. We'll go through some things with them tomorrow, but we have to look at players as a whole, but also the staff in terms of, what could we, and me personally, what do I need to do? Because, I think for any team, you learn all through the season, but you learn a lot in losses, and you really learn. And when you really learn when you're a bit in the woods, and you're forced to, we're going to be forced to really dig into it and prioritize the things we need to do to be successful. And we always try to do that, but when we're that uneven in the performance, there's probably plenty of blame to go around. Players, staff, everyone's got to do better. And for me, we just weren't good enough, and it's frustrating. We just have to go back to work so that we're ready, next week when we step on the field. And hopefully the fans will recognize that it's a bit early in the season, and we're trying to get to our best levels, because for tonight I don't know, it's a pretty slow-paced game, not a lot of chances either way. We definitely want to be more entertaining and more dangerous whenever we're playing. It just felt like a lot of work for not a lot of joy today.
And Boston's clearing it though, because they had 27 clears tonight. You guys had 73% of the game. That had a huge impact. They were just able to.
Yeah, they were. I think for them but they're a better team. They can keep the ball. Had we gotten the first goal, they would have come out but they played Thursday, and we're happy, and they recognize, well, we don't think you're going to break us down, so we don't need to go chasing. If we get a second goal, great. So I think sometimes when the game is that way, the onus is on us to generate chances. And if we don't generate enough danger and enough chances, they're going to sit there all game. Because the few times they did come out, we showed maybe we could get behind them. And so they said, you know what, we'll just sit here because they're not taking enough initiative, and we can defend them. They're not able to hurt us. And it's almost a bit of a sign of disrespect that they held on to the game for 87 minutes on the road, and we didn't have a response. In Loudon a few nights ago, we were up 2 goals, twice, 2-0 and 3-1, and their response was immediate. And we have to look at and say, you know what, we needed to be all over them and attacking and in motion. That's, like I said, there's a lot to process. There's a lot to unpack, and we'll do it and get back to work tomorrow with the guys and try to, obviously someone will need rest, but it's our job to get them going again for next week's game.